All right, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's Urban Ag Hour. We are so excited that you were able to join us this morning and hear from an amazing speaker today. The Urban Agriculture Production Small Scale and Beginning Farmer Program is partnered with USDA NRCS and FSA to offer this series, and today we will hear from a project manager from the ASU Swette Center, Courtney Buzzard. I will now hand it over to you, Courtney, and you can take it away from here.
Awesome. Thanks, Tiffany, and thank you for putting this together. It's a pleasure to be here with you all. As Tiffany said, my name is Courtney Buzzard. I am with the Swette Center for Sustainable Food Systems at Arizona State University, and I am the project manager for the Transition to Organic Partnership Program, which is what we're going to be talking about today. And give me a second, and I will pull up these slides. All righty. So here today, we're going to be giving a little bit of a brief overview about the Swette Center to familiarize with what we do here. And then we'll be talking about organic agriculture in Arizona and then doing a bit of a deeper dive into the Transition to Organic Partnership Program, also known as TOP, because that honestly is a mouthful. So about the Swette Center here. Our mission is to drive social progress, economic productivity, and ecosystem resilience through food systems transformation. We have a wonderful leader here at the Swette Center, our Executive Director, Kathleen Merrigan, who is a former Deputy Secretary of the USDA and an organic pioneer in agricultural policy and sustainable food systems. You may know Kathleen by name. If you come to some of our events, you may have met her in the past. But she was a co-author of the 1990 Farm Bill, which included the Organic Foods Production Act. And also during her time at the USDA, she launched things that I'm sure you would be familiar with, including My Plate and the USDA's Know Your Farmer, Know Your Food initiative. Here at Swette, we have 7 strategic priorities. As I mentioned, we're going to be focusing on organic today, but to give you a little bit of a background about the other things that we're working on, we work in a variety of ways to support sustainable food systems, and those include workforce development through higher education programs and supporting sustainable food consumption in ways that align with deliciousness and rich culinary traditions, engaging the private sector, and more. Speaking of our academic programs, if you're interested in any of them, we have a number of fantastic opportunities, one of which includes an online Master's of Science in Sustainable Food Systems, which includes an inside look into food systems policy. We were just talking about this briefly before the presentation, but the Swette team was just in DC recently with our master's students doing a week-long policy immersion in DC. We also offer graduate certificates, undergraduate programs, etc. And if you want to learn more about what we do here at Swette, you can visit our website, which is globalfutures.asu.edu/food. And it'll give you more information about our research, our academic programs, who we are, and our initiatives. Turning over to organic in Arizona, we're going to take a look at a brief overview, starting with what is organic. This is a topic that we could do a really deep dive in, so I'm going to kind of just touch on high-level stuff here today. But the USDA organic label ensures that the crops produced or animals raised are according to organic standards, which ensure that conservation practices that are typically bundled as maintaining or enhancing soil and water quality, avoiding the use of synthetic fertilizers, sewage, sludge, irradiation, genetic engineering, etc. The focus for organic is on a system to cycle resources and build soil health. Organic practices are specific within your region, site, and production type, and they offered a really comprehensive way to steward the land. And products raised with the USDA organic label guarantee that food has been produced without synthetic pesticides or fertilizers, artificial hormones, or GMOs. And organic certification is overseen by the USDA National Organic Program, which they are a body that ensures that all organic certifiers follow the same minimum set of standards. And here within the National Organic Program, you're going to get different ways that they touch on organic, including overseeing the organic certifiers, as I mentioned, but also bodies like the National Organic Standards Board. And organic, as far as food labels go, is the only one that is federally regulated. So you can trust that when you see that organic label, you know that your food is truly organic. Some insights about organic, and why organic. Why am I thinking about this? Why organic versus something else? And one of those is that consumers know it. Over 88% of consumers are familiar with organic. It does have the highest ranking of trust, as I mentioned, for food certification labels. It is the only one that is federally regulated. And particularly younger generations are paying attention to organic. Over 70% of millennials and Gen Z are reporting that the USDA organic label is an important consideration for them when they choose their food. It is protected by law, and anybody who is certified organic does have a yearly inspection by certification experts. It does allow all food to be traced from farm all the way to store or direct to retail. And it is shaped by public input through things like that National Organic Standards Board, which allows for public comments and the public to come in twice a year and talk about organic and what they want to see, allowing for continuous improvement within the organic standards. So here in Arizona, organic production is small, but it is mighty. As of last week, May 12th, actually, specifically, this was what the organic landscape looked like in Arizona. So we have 69 operations that are producing organic crops in Arizona. Just one now that is doing livestock. That one operation is also certified for crops. It's our good friends over at Blue Sky Organic Farms. If you've come out to any of our events in the past, we love to do events over at Blue Sky. And then as of the 2021 USDA Organic Survey, we're looking at about 22,500 acres and $116 million in sales of organic produced just here in Arizona. Those numbers will be changing soon. The organic survey is conducted by NASS, same as the Ag Census, and they're going to be running a new one this year in 2025. So we'll be able to get you some updated numbers on those here in the near future. Looking at organic, there are 4 different organic scopes. So if you want to go into organic and you start considering what is a good option for me, you're going to want to look at one of these 4 different scopes. The 2 that we work primarily with here in Arizona are crops and livestock, as I just mentioned, but there are many handlers in Arizona as well. Handlers are anybody that are within the supply chain. They might not necessarily be a producer, but it can be folks who are, shipping, packing, transporting food, distribution sites, etc. For an overview of the crop scope here, it's food that has been grown in organic soil that, as I said, no synthetic pesticides, fertilizers are applied for at least 3 years prior to the harvest. No GMOs are used, and the crops are rotated and not grown on the same field year after year. Hydroponics and aquaponics are also considered part of this scope within the USDA organic regulations. Over into the livestock scope, all animals are raised in living conditions accommodating natural behaviors. They're fed 100% organic feed, forage, and pasture. And they're not given any antibiotics or hormones, though they do get vaccines. Organic livestock is well taken care of. And it allows for a good traceability of meat and eggs that doesn't necessarily exist in food that is not certified organic, and you're able to trace back individual animals or eggs back to their flocks on the farm. There is also a fourth scope mentioned here at the bottom of this slide, which is wild crops. And that is any plant or a portion of a plant that's collected or harvested from a site that's not maintained under cultivation or other agricultural management. If you think of things that might be harvested naturally, mushrooms could be a good example of this. That would go into the wild crop scope. So the certification process can be very daunting. So we wanted to break it down into just 5 very easy steps, just to give you all a brief overview of what you're looking at. As I mentioned, it does take 3 years to produce organic food. And so in order to be certified organic, we have to make sure that your period of time is 3 years. So that means you're not using any inputs on your land that allow for prohibited substances. So you're not applying anything like those synthetic fertilizers, pesticides, etc., for at least 3 years. Once we're over that 3-year period, that allows you to put together an organic system plan. You're going to go through an on-site inspection. You'll have an evaluation of inspection report, and then you'll get your final certification decision. This process can be sped up a little bit. If you are able to get, for an example, an affidavit from a previous landowner or some sort of proof, maybe the land has been fallow for a certain number of years. If you're able to prove that either you have already been following organic practices or the land hasn't been used, either way, as long as there is some sort of proof that you don't have those inputs that are not allowed in organic, that process can be sped up, and you don't necessarily have to wait the full 3 years for that transition period. So moving on to the bulk of what we're talking about today, which is TOP, the Transition to Organic Partnership Program. So TOP is a national program led by the National Organic Program, the NOP, out of the USDA, and it is designed to support transitioning and organic producers and handlers with mentorship and resources. And the overall goal of TOP is to grow the network of organic across the country. And in Arizona, we receive funding through a 5-year cooperative agreement overseen by the nonprofit organic certifier, California Certified Organic Farmers, also known as CCOF. TOP is part of a broader $300 million USDA investment called the Organic Transition Initiative, with components led by the National Organic Program, the Natural Resources Conservation Services, and Risk Management Agency. And it provides guidance through certification, access to workshops, webinars like this one, field days, technical assistance, and education on organic production, including market opportunities and the certification process. Nationwide, TOP is part of a much bigger picture. It's widening USDA organic engagement among industry professionals within organic, and then also US producers and handlers and the general public. And from mentorship to those public events, webinars like this one, the program is a bridge to complementary efforts within the organic industry. It doesn't necessarily exist in a vacuum. There are many ways that people have been helping to support organic for years, decades even. And it's part of an ecosystem activity that supports these transitioning operations. And it ranges from maybe neighbor to neighbor advice, peer-to-peer support, conference presentations, and also wonderful extension scientists who offer guidance, advice, etc. And it is directly addressing and meant to address an unmet market opportunity for domestic organic production. We all know organic. We see it in the stores. It is under high demand. People want to buy it. However, we are bringing in more organic imports than we are actually producing domestically. And so a big goal of TOP is to really strengthen that growth in USDA organic certified acres and number of operations so our farmers here can meet that market opportunity. And it is leading to a growth in USDA organic, which is opening doors for those farmers and ranchers and also strengthening economies and communities nationwide. If you want to do a bit of a deep dive into TOP, we did recently release the 2024 Impact Report. It can allow you to take a look inside the program's impact. It came out just about a month ago. It includes programmatic data from federal fiscal year 24, so the past year or so, but you're also going to get wonderful stories from program participants. Hear firsthand from mentors, mentees, people who are giving or have received TA, folks coming to events, and just hear from them about the importance of this program for them and for their communities. And then to learn more about TOP nationally, we encourage you to check out their website. There is a national website for TOP, organictransition.org. You can find that report there, but you're also going to find a wealth of resources. TOP is put together and working with over 165 different organizations across this country. And all of these folks are putting on events, creating resources, working with farmers directly to support this transition to organic. So if you visit this website, you're going to find a wealth of resources. If you're interested in the mentorship program, if you just want to learn more, or maybe you want to dig up a specific resource about IPM, for example, you'll be able to find something here that will help support you and any digging that you want to do. It's a great place to go to. So here in Arizona, and I'm going to pause for a second to take a sip. Here in Arizona, the Swette Center is the state lead for TOP for this program. And so what we are focused on is a lot of what I've already been talking about. It's leading that farmer to farmer mentorship component, doing community building, technical assistance and training, workforce development, etc. We do wear a couple of different hats. So we are also the data management lead for all 6 regions of the program. And we work directly with the National Organic Program as well on national program data reporting and evaluation. The program, as I said here, is funded through CCOF, a contract with CCOF. However, there are 6 regions of this country, each with an organic certifier leading it. So we work directly with all 6 of those good folks and the folks at the NOP to make sure we are giving you all, people who are participating in the program, people who want to learn about the program, the best data and resources that we possibly can. And a brief overview for you here. This is a quick look at our TOP team here in Arizona. If you are to work with us, let's say you wanted to apply to be a mentee, or you're interested in some technical assistance, you're likely going to hear from my colleague, Sarah, here at the bottom left of the slides. She's our outreach coordinator for the program, and she does a great job matching mentors and mentees together, connecting people with technical assistance providers. But all of these good folks on the screen help us put together resources, events, field days, things that you can come and join us in many different ways. So the pillars of Arizona TOP, we've touched on this a bunch of times already, but you're going to have your 4 main components: mentorship, technical assistance, community building, workforce development. So what do these things look like? What do they mean? So mentorship, which is really the core of TOP programming, it connects producers who want to transition to organic practices with experienced organic producers, folks who have been doing this for a while, folks who are USDA certified, folks who know how to put an OSP together, an organic system plan, things like that. We also offer technical assistance, workshops, field days, other events for TA and organic specific resources. But that also branches out into one-on-one technical assistance, which we'll dive into a little bit later. Then we have the community building aspect, and the goal there is really to build a strong community and connections within the organic community here in Arizona. We've been working on this specifically for about 2.5 years with TOP here in Arizona, and the connections that people have made are wonderful and likely to last the rest of their lives or careers. And workforce development includes targeted training and education for the organic workforce, the supply chain, for folks who are working with producers directly. It's a bit of a train the trainer model. So, for example, in the past, we've had good folks from NRCS and FSA out at our events so they can learn more about organic. So, when somebody comes into a field office, they have a little bit more knowledge at their disposal. They know how to connect folks either with us or with the program in general. They know how to help support um, putting together conservation plans that are focused on organic, etc. So diving in a bit to the mentorship program and what that looks like. So as I said, it's the core service for TOP. It's designed to help aspiring USDA certified organic producers and handlers. So while we talk about producers a lot in TOP, let's say you are somebody who does have a distribution center and you want to have organic food come through your center, you can get certified as well, and we have the resources to help connect you to somebody who can help you along your journey to do that. So mentorship includes building an understanding of organic production practices, and that includes things like paperwork and how to successfully run a USDA certified organic operation. We know that oftentimes the folks that we work with, they tell us, one of the biggest barriers for me is I'm intimidated by that organic system plan. I don't know how to put it together. I might not even know where to start. That is a perfect way that a mentor can support you. If you want to come into the program as a mentee, you do get a stipend for each mentorship year. You will get connected with a USDA certified organic producer, and they can offer you assistance like with your OSP and also in organic production in general through training resources, come to our workshops, etc. With that, you have to come in with the intention to become USDA certified organic, and is at least 1 year commitment working with your mentor. Let's say you're somebody out here who is certified organic already. And if so, I'm sorry, you probably know a lot about what I'm saying already, but we would love to have you as a mentor. You also get a stipend for each mentorship year. It's a paid professional development opportunity. Aside from the 1 year commitment, there's no strings attached. And you can develop teaching and facilitation skills and support Arizona's growing interest in organic production. As we said, it's small but mighty. If you are certified organic and you are on this call, please talk to us. We would love to get to know you. You just need 3 years direct experience with USDA organic certification. Maybe you are a farm manager and you don't own the operation, but you are working at an operation that is certified organic. Come talk to us. You still qualify. It is just that 1 year commitment, and you get many benefits, including connecting to a larger network of like-minded producers across the state, across the region, across the country. And we really want to enable this network that we are building to support each other, not just through the duration of this program, but for years to come here in Arizona. A bit about the pay for each side. Mentors receive $70 an hour, up to $3,000 a year for one mentee. You could potentially be matched with multiple people if you decide that is the way you would like to go. And then mentees receive $500 a year of a travel and education stipend. Mentorship here in Arizona, 2025. What are we looking at? We have right now 12 active mentors who are matched and working with 15 mentees. We have 2 matches that are currently in the works. And in the past year, we've had 3 mentees get certified, 2 just in April, so very recent. The interest in this program has been huge. We weren't sure coming into this how it was going to go. All we knew was that the organic landscape in Arizona is not as large as it is in some other places like California, next door, for example. We didn't know if folks were going to be interested, but we've gotten over 30 applications for mentees. Like I said, some folks have already completed the program, and we're continuing to match people. So this program is going to run through the end of 2026. So we got about a year and a half left. If you're interested, come talk to us. We would love to get you on board. Our mentors are experienced with a wide range of things: vegetables, grains, trees and orchards, poultry, and hydroponic productions. And then mentees, a lot of them are small to medium scale. We just had somebody transition 1 acre. She is a backyard grower. You might know her. It's Rachel Opio over at Little Lighthouse. She's a well-known name in the community here. But you don't have to be huge to do this. You can be a small grower, and it could really benefit your business, especially if you're looking to scale up. But our mentees also wide range of interests, from poultry, backyard growers, cattle, sheep, grain, vegetables, you name it. We have all kinds of folks. We even have a rancher who's stewarding over 7,000 acres. So quite the opposite of an example of Rachel Opio. We have the other end of the scale with folks who have large herds of cattle that are also interested in transitioning. And that looks different for everybody. And that's why mentorship is a perfect way to get any questions you might have answered. Everybody brings a unique perspective and skill set. So when we're trying to match folks up, it's not just, oh, this person has a similar production method or they might grow the same things. We look at a lot of different things. Maybe it's personal background, things that you're interested in, whatnot. So we try to make sure that everybody ends up with the best fit for them and how they can get the best dedication to their mentorship year as possible. Going over to technical assistance. So if you look at mentorship as the core of TOP, technical assistance is going to be the next layer. As I said, a lot of this happens at events. It can also happen one-on-one. So it opens the door to a range of organic curious operations, or folks who are seeking technical services on their journey to organic. Maybe a mentor isn't the right fit. Maybe they have a mentor, but they need a little bit extra on top. It can go both ways. So for technical assistance providers, these folks also receive an hourly stipend for their technical assistance provided. It's the same as a mentor, it's $70 an hour. Again, a paid professional development opportunity. You can hone in on your teaching and facilitation skills and support Arizona's interest in organic. You do have to have experience with USDA organic certification, but there's no set time commitment. This can be something, maybe you want to give a presentation at an event. Maybe you are open to working with people who are, I'll use IPM as an example again, really interested in digging deep into integrated pest management. Maybe that's your skill set and what you know a lot about. Again, come talk to us. We would love to hear from you, and we would love to have you on board with this as well. TA recipients, also similar to mentees, but a little bit less defined. You don't have that set time commitment with a mentor of working together for a year. We do ask that you have an interest in organic certification and practices, but it does offer a targeted form of technical assistance. So you can get training through workshops, field days, resources, etc. We can talk specifically about your organic system plan, or like I said, maybe there is just like one specific component you need a little bit more help with. We have a wide range of folks that can come talk to you. And here in Arizona 2025, what we are looking at, we right now have 8 TA providers working throughout the state with folks, and they provide a wide range of assistance. Our workshops that we host are largely focusing on organic system plan and record keeping processes. These are online workshops that we put together, at least 2 of them a year. We should have some coming up soon that we are in the early stages of planning. And those always, everything is open to the public. Anybody can join these workshops. You don't necessarily have to be a mentee, a mentor, already receiving TA. Maybe you just want to hear a little bit more about organic. Maybe you came to this presentation and you're curious about the program, come out and join us at a workshop. We do have a livestock cohort that is working throughout this year. Pictured here, you're going to see the Hartquists of Hartquist Hollow Family Farm. They are mentees in our program. And with them is George Seaman. He's actually the founding CEO of Organic Valley, a very well-known name. I'm sure everybody here would recognize it. He was kind enough to connect with 5 of our mentees here in Arizona. As we said, we only have 1 livestock operation here in Arizona that is certified organic. Sarah Dolan is a superhero, but she can't do it all. She's already working with 2 mentees, so we needed a little bit extra help here in the state. We brought in George. He's been kind enough to even fly out here to Arizona. He doesn't live in Arizona, but he went out, visited some of these farms, giving these folks that little bit of extra push, specifically focusing on livestock. And other specialities for our TA providers, one of them specializes in working with USDA agencies. Maybe that's a bit of a mystery to you. It is to many folks who are just getting started if you're a newer farmer or rancher. Small urban organic growing, organic honey and beekeeping, regenerative organic certified practices, and then OSP and organic record keeping. And this list is still growing. So when we find that there is a specific need, the organic honey beekeeping was one of them. We did some digging until we found somebody who was a good resource for these folks. Like I said, even if it's just you just need a little bit more information, TA is a great way to go. And to learn more, I know not to throw another website at you, but there is also an Arizona Top specific website. So while the national website is going to give you a beautiful wealth of resources and information about the program going on nationally, this one is curated by our team here at the Swette Center to focus specifically on Arizona activities. So like the national website, you're going to get information about upcoming events, mentorship, TA information, and also a resources section. But here it's always going to be things that are focused just on Arizona. So if you are curious about our next workshop or field day, if you are looking for maybe, I'll go to the next slide. This is a good example, a resource about who are the organic certifiers who are working here in Arizona. How do I get in contact with them? What do they certify? What type of application? We have a resource for that. So this example here, you're going to see these are the organic certifiers who are already working with folks in the state who are already certified. So if you just need a little bit of information, maybe don't know where to get started, I would recommend checking out this page. As I said, it is also going to include information about any upcoming events that we might have. And moving out of TOP specifically, but I did briefly mention working with USDA agencies. We are a program led by the USDA. These folks are going to help connect you with more than what TOP just offers, but with the larger USDA ecosystem as a whole. To get started, we always recommend going to your local service center, farm service agency. The good folks at UA Extension, they are familiar with this as well. If you are in contact with them, I'm sure they can point you in the right direction too. But FSA is the go-to agency for USDA records. If you're new to working with the USDA, you need to come in, register your farm, get a farm number. It's the best way to get started. And you can always find your local FSA service center by searching for USDA service centers if you just want to Google it, or you can go to www.farmers.gov and they have a way there of finding your local USDA service center. Risk Management Agency, as I mentioned, is one of the agencies within the USDA that was part of the larger Organic Transition Initiative. They are the crop insurance folks. And so they're also great people to turn to for information about crop insurance, non-insured crop disaster assistance program, which does include, by the way, heat-related disasters, which is obviously critical here in Arizona. But they provide assistance to producers to plan everyday risks or natural disasters. And then lastly, the Natural Resources Conservation Service, known as NRCS. They are home to EQIP, the Environmental Quality Incentives Program. I'm sure many of you are familiar with this already, but it's a program that provides producer financial and technical assistance to implement conservation practices. NRCS is another critical component of the larger Organic Transition Initiative. They have ways of working with you to find complementary conservation practices, whether you are early in the days just thinking about organic or you are already organic certified. We've had mentors come in who have been organic certified, I think one of them for 20 plus years, and has never worked with USDA before connecting with us. And they were like, how did I not know this existed? But we were able to connect them with the folks at NRCS, get a conservation plan together, and they're now receiving payments through the EQIP program as well. And to make things easy for you, most of the time NRCS and FSA are housed together in a USDA service center. So if you're looking for one, oftentimes you're going to find the other as well. With that, I'm going to wrap up briefly telling you guys about an upcoming event. We've talked about events a lot, but we are having a organic markets workshop at Sprouts coming up soon on June 12th in the morning from 8 to about 12 p.m. You can register by going to the bit.ly site at the bottom, or you can scan the QR code that is on your screen. This is something that we're really excited about. A lot of folks in the program have been asking questions about the organic market in Arizona. What does it look like? How do I get my products in a store like Sprouts, like Whole Foods, something to connect them to the market development piece? And so we're really excited about this event. Educational events like this are the point where top sphere of influence expands. And our goal here is to offer opportunities for folks who are just interested, folks who might not be receiving other forms of top support. This is also a great place where agricultural support professionals can connect. They can receive that workforce development, learn a little bit more about organic so they can best help when a producer comes in to talk to them. And that includes, as I've mentioned, good folks at Extension, USDA staff, organic certifiers even. We've had folks who come out or maybe help support our events who are certification agents. And it's a way to play a key role in helping those producers and handlers transition to organic. Our goal here really is just to share practices, innovations, strategies for success. And so we want to invite you to this workshop. Please come out and join us. As always, any top event is open, free to the public. All you have to do is register. So hopefully we will see you then. And with that, I will wrap up. If you have any questions, if you want to know where to find us, if you want to reach us directly, please feel free to email us at organic.transition@asu.edu. We have a great team here at the Swette Center, lots of folks who are eager to connect with you. And with that, I will stop sharing and turn it back over to Tiffany.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Courtney, for that wonderful presentation. We'll now enter into a Q&A session. So if anyone has any questions or needs any clarification on anything that Courtney talked about, feel free to drop them in the chat and we will get those questions answered for you. While people are kind of thinking of questions, Courtney, what kind of sparked your interest in the organic industry and wanting to kind of really work towards that?
That's a great question. So what I would say what sparked my interest is really what sparked my interest in food in general. I love food. I love cooking. I actually have a background in the food and beverage industry before I joined Swette Center. And so that's really where my passion lies. And you're not going to get good food without the best ingredients. And not only does organic, you know, we talk about helping to support soil health, it's good for the environment, things like that, but it truly does taste better. So if you're looking for cooking with the best quality ingredients that you possibly can, you don't necessarily need to make a recipe overly complicated. You don't need to know how to make a complicated sauce. Sometimes all you need are some good tomatoes and olive oil, and you're good to go.
Yeah. And anyone who has any questions, you can just type them in the chat, and I'll ask them for everyone.
I see that somebody was saying the Q&A was turned off, so they can't submit questions. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. But that is a wonderful kind of background to want to really push towards that. I think it's really important to know where your food comes from and just know that it has the best ingredients possible in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's not something I really touched on in the presentation, but one of our 7 pillars here, and something that we're really passionate, the center's passionate about, Kathleen's passionate about, is what we like to call the power of deliciousness. And with that, it's how do you make folks who might not care about food think about food? And all you have to do is feed them something really good, and then they'll want to talk about it. And I think that's a great jumping off point for even folks who are like, oh, organic, you know, it's all the same to me. I just want to eat. But to get folks really to find that spark, feed them a really good meal.
Absolutely. Having a good meal is very important. One question we have is, what opportunities do you see for organic producers in Arizona?
Laura, trying to trick me. I see you. There's lots of opportunities for organic producers in Arizona. Market expansion is a really good one. As we talked about, there is a huge demand for organic. We have a big concentration of organic growers in Yuma, but it's not going to be, we've heard in some other states, people are worried about oversaturation of the market. That doesn't exist here. So not only are you going to, if you were to transition to organic, it's going to support soil health. You can get access to resources, come to events, etc. But you're also going to get that market premium. And it's a really, really big deal. You're going to make more money at the end of the day. And I would encourage everybody, if you want to learn more about that specifically, come out to that Sprouts workshop, because that's what we're going to be talking about.
So, besides just like the Sprouts workshop that's putting on, is there any other like opportunities for people to come and learn more about like the organic marketing side, um, to get those products at market to sell them?
So we haven't done anything market focused just yet. We've been kind of holding off until this event. The past year, we've really been trying to focus on the more direct components, like how to put together an OSP. But we are going to be working on more materials in the future. So stay tuned. We will have more events, webinars, and resources that are focused on that market piece too.
Awesome. Is there a market for organic Jew beach fruit in Arizona?
I don't know specifically, but I'm going to guess yes. There is really an organic market for most things, and especially if you're talking about something like a juice. Yes, absolutely. Places like Whole Foods, Sprouts, they thrive in the fresh juice market, and so I would assume yes.
Do you know if organic is a way to reduce water use?
I would say it depends on what you're growing and how you're growing it. Organic not isn't necessarily going to answer that for you in a direct way. But it can. It absolutely can. It really depends on your practices. And you don't necessarily have to be certified organic to reduce water use. You can be using organic practices. You can be maybe working with NRCS and finding ways to conserve water there as well. So while it's part of the solution. It's not necessarily 100% the solution.
All right. Does anyone have Oh, perfect. Are there any USDA organic certified honey producers in Arizona? I know this is a difficult product to certify, and most of the organic honey sold in the retail market is imported. Are there official standards in place for organic honey production?
Thanks, Amanda. That's a great question. So there aren't any certified organic honey producers in Arizona. We do have Crockett's Honey, and that's where our honey beekeeping TA provider is from. But they are certified as a handler. And yes, it is true that most organic honey is imported. So if we're talking about organic market opportunities, trying to grow domestic organic, honey is actually a really good point of focus. And for honey, while there aren't any producers here in Arizona that are certified just yet, we do have two different folks who are focused on honey and beekeeping. So again, stay tuned. It is a 3-year transition, but one of them might be certified here in the near future. And there are official standards in place for organic honey production. They're technically considered under the livestock scope for organic.
Do you know a little bit more on like how you would make certified organic honey, or like kind of what the specifications would be for that one?
I don't know all of the details specifically, but we could be able to do a little bit of a deep dive and get you more information. What I do know is it really depends on a flying range for the bees, that they have to have access to a certain amount of outside area, which is similar to any of the other parts of the livestock scope, whether you're raising chickens, cows, etc. It's that outdoor access. So it has to do with that. Organic honey is a difficult one though, because much like a wild crop, for example, you can't necessarily control the outside components. So that's why you're going to see a lot less of it than some other parts of organic.
Yeah, makes total sense. You can't really control where they're going.
Exactly.
Does anyone do you know how ranching land for cattle is certified organic?
So the land specifically has to be certified just like it would be for anything else. So the land itself gets certified under the crop scope. And then if you want to certify your cattle, that comes in with the livestock scope. So oftentimes folks who are raising organic livestock, cattle, or otherwise, they're going to be certified under multiple scopes. But we always recommend that the land gets certified first. It's also what generally takes longer. So just like anything else, when I was talking about that 3-year transition period, maybe you can prove that the land wasn't used for up to 3 years or there was no inputs put on it. The land itself is going to be certified for cattle ranching just as like it would be for anything else.
For livestock, does it have to go through like a certain time period for it to become certified organic? Like, what kind is that process? Say, like, if I have some cattle, on certified organic land, what would be the process for me certifying my livestock?
Yeah, that's a good question. It depends on what you're raising. So cattle specifically have to have access to a certain amount of pasture days per year. And then if you're wanting to transition existing animals that you already have, the time period for transition of where they have to be on organic land, have that outdoor access, be making sure that they're getting organic feed, it varies from animal to animal. So cattle is going to be different than sheep. It's going to be different than pig. Going down to chickens, for example, the chickens have to be raised organically within 24 hours of hatching. So if you were to bring in eggs and you are able to hatch that egg and immediately move that new chick over to or an organic feed operation, organic land, etc., within 24 hours, then that chicken can be considered organic. And then for some of them, that time period varies. I think chickens are actually the most specific. I would have to double check. But they have the more strict with the 24 hours. And I think you're able to transition like actual cattle. But I don't know off the top of my head what their time period is.
Very interesting. Can new or beginning farmers join TOP?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you are new to farming, but you want to start off with a bang, start off organic from the get-go, you can absolutely join TOP. We might suggest coming out to some events, some workshops to get started, maybe putting you with some of our good TA folks to give you a broader overview. And then if you really decide you want to commit, we can move on to getting you a mentor. But absolutely, anybody is welcome to join TOP in whatever capacity fits best for you.
Awesome. Do we have any more questions from anyone in the chat before we start to wrap up this webinar? All right. Well, thank you so much to everyone for joining this month's Urban Ag Hour. And again, a huge thank you to Courtney for coming on and sharing some wonderful information. She's a wonderful resource to ask any questions to. So don't forget to get that email down if you have any additional questions later on. And again, we thank you for coming to this month's Urban Ag Hour, and we hope to see you next month, which will take place on June 18th, and the registration page will be coming later today. So thank you again, Courtney, and thank you everyone for attending.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, bye.